So folks, the next topic we'll be covering is entry and exits. We'll focus on two-axis profiling for the entry and exits. So entry exit allows you to establish how you'd like to enter and leave the material. And in this case, entry and exit basically for profiling is applied where your start point is. So as you go into your entry and exit tab, you could specify the entry and exit. It could be set to lines and arcs, which is typically also could be like a 2D entry and 2D exit if a ramp height is not set. So as you can see here, the approach motion is set to linear and the engage motion is set to linear. So this results in a linear entry, an approach, and an engage motion, and linear for retract and departure mode. Now the entry and exit can be specified for each of the cut levels. And this can be done by selecting apply entry and exit for each cut level in the entry exit tab. Now switching the entry and exit from linear to radial I'm going to just switch it for the engage motion. So you'll notice that after the linear approach, you're going to have a radial entry and then your cut motion, and then we have a linear retract and a departure mode. So depending on the type of entry and exit you're looking to generate, you can choose those options in here and you can specify and adjust the parameters. Now, if you'd like to ramp along at the specified height, you can also specify ramp height in here for the entry and exit parameters. So I can give it a height of 0.25 and generating it will result in a ramped. So in this case, it's not ramping along the path of the curve. It's ramping, entering away from the model here, as you can see, away from the toolpath. So it's entering in. So if you're working with some sort of like a material where there's going to be chipping or involved, so you can basically ramp away from the edge so it doesn't result in any chipping. The same thing can also be set for exit. We can specify a ramp height in here for the exit motion as well. And this would apply for both entry and exit mode. So this is entry and exit using lines and arcs. You also have the option to specify the entry to be along path, where it's going to ramp along the path of your tool path. So if I specify along path, height, and an angle, it's going to ramp along the path, as you can see right here. So there's a ramp motion. Again, since I've said applied entry and exit for each cut level, the entry motion and the exit motions are being applied for each cut level. Now setting the entry and exit to none will result in a plunge motion followed by the cut and then a retract. And the plunge is applied for each of the cut levels. There's one thing I would also like to point out here in the entry and exit is there's an option to specify what is called an overlap distance. So if you're noticing any witness mark at the location where you're having an entry and exit, you may want to overrun it by specifying an overlap distance in here. So this will basically go past the start, which results in basically it overshoots it by that amount, so it doesn't leave any witness mark, goes past it by the specified distance. I just use the tool diameter as a distance in here for the entry and exit move. So you can specify these parameters and you can notice that here the entry and exits are not at the same point. The exit occurs half an inch past the location of the start point. So specifying an overlap distance will allow you to go past it. Now, we talked about entry and exit in profiling. The same also goes with chamfering and other similar type of methods, even facing. Now, the entry and exit in pocketing works slightly differently, where since you're in a cavity, you would want to ramp into a pocket. So you can specify the ramp to be either a path, linear, or it could be helical. And depending on what we choose here, if the helical entry that you specify is not feasible to apply and it's going to result in a gouge, it'll automatically revert to a path entry, path engage motion, which would be the most safest way to enter into the material. So you can notice that there's helical entry motions at these levels, but since it's not feasible to apply helical entry over here, it's applying a path entry even though we have it set to helical, so which is going to be the most safest way not to result in any gouge around the island areas.